Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donohue and Sonia Mansfield, talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donohue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. Today, Nelly, we've got a huge creep to get into. But if this is your first time listening, just so you know, we always end the show with someone who is not a creep. So it leaves you feeling a little bit elevated. And if it makes you feel good from the start, he's dead. Deader than a doornail.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
But here's the thing. We're always looking for suggestions for creeps and also for non-creeps. So we have a few places you can reach out to us. We have a basic Facebook page. We don't do anything with it. It's a place where people go to complain our language. We use salty language in this program. We're adults. This is just how it goes. So just keep that in mind.
Fuck shit, damn.
But of all the social medias we have, we're the most interactive, in our private Facebook group. You do have to ask a few questions before you can join the group, especially in these days and times. So just please be patient about that and be cognizant of that. But it's the What a Creep podcast group. Great place to hang out if you want to hang out with your fellow people who love to rage against the creeps. We're on Twitter at CreepPod until we decide to finally just cut that loss forever. We're on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, What a Creep podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like some stickers, just please send us your address via the email, and we will drop them in the mail for you wherever you are on the planet of Earth. Sonia.
She'll do it.
I'll do it. Just dare me, y'all. I got a lot of rage to get out. I'll go to the post office rage. Creeps,
I love
creeps. Okay, Sonia.
Yeah.
Tell us about the website.
Okay, go to whatacreeppodcast.com. It's everything you want to know about the podcast, but we're afraid to ask. I'm going to go in there and update it and maybe remove our Twitter and make sure we're plugging our other social media because we are going to ditch that one eventually because they're creeps. But if you want to see all of our past episodes are there and you can you click the link, open the post, and you will get our show notes because we source everything we do. We're not making this stuff up and we want to give people credit for the work they've done. If you're looking for a deeper dive on any of our creeps, fabulous place to start. Do that. There's also a link to our merch shop where you can get t-shirts and tote bags and face masks and other cool things. So please do that. I can testify the t-shirts are super soft and cozy.
They are rad.
I love mine.
They are real comfy.
They are so comfy. Can testify. So please do that. There's also a link to our Patreon. You want to tell them about that, Margot?
Yes. Patreon. We have a couple of very affordable options there. We use the money just for the resources for the shows. We have like Rolling Stone and these other really great.
We like to pay people for their work.
We do like to pay people for their work. So what we do with our Patreon page is this. We offer our first 9 seasons for just the Patreon members. And then we put out 2 bonus episodes a month. And the 2 bonus episodes, we do an audio and a video version, depending on what you like. And we just shoot the shit. We just talk about creeps in the news and non-creeps in the news. It's a pop culture get-together.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a good hangout.
For fun.
We ask that if you can, to please do it through your laptop because Apple Podcasts is now taking 30% from people if they go through the Apple app. It's really annoying. We don't know why they're doing that, but I guess everyone's just trying to grab as much money as they can. So it's a very simple app to get. You just do it online and then you can get the app for your phone and you get the episodes there. Also, you can sign up for free and occasionally we put out bonus free episodes. Also, we put out for another show we work on called Dorking Out. We put out trailers and things like that or whatever. So yeah, That's the Patreon thing. I'd like to thank Katie and Nathan. They're recent members of the Patreon group. Thank you all so much. And please remember, speaking of Apple, if you do use Apple Podcasts, if you could leave us a few stars and review, that would be amazing. They also on Spotify now, it's much easier to leave reviews.
Helps us find our people.
Exactly. It helps us find our people. It makes us feel a little less alone. It makes us,
Yeah.
it's all that good stuff. So wherever you get your podcast, but tell a friend about the show. Request a sticker, put it on your laptop, go to the coffee shop, and tell everybody about us. That would be rad.
Super helpful.
Yes. Okay. So Sonia,
Yeah.
who is our creep today?
We're going to talk about Pat Robertson. I know, everybody, but this one's been on the list for a while, and I don't know. This is the one I felt like I had in me this week, so forgive me. Trigger warning: racism, sexism, homophobia. This creep has everything. He's got all the stuff. Sources: Advocate, AP News, Esquire, Mother Jones, The New York Times, Rolling Stone, Washington Post, and Wikipedia twice, because he has a page that's just for his controversial takes. It needed its own page, y'all. So enjoy. It's going to be a long list. If you don't know, Pat Robertson was a minister, a media mogul, a televangelist, a political commentator, and a presidential candidate. He pushed the conservative Christian ideals into the Republican Party politics. He served as the head of Regent University, and he started the Christian Broadcasting Network.
My
He's
favorite.
also a best-selling. It's the best.
It's a riot.
Best-selling author and the host of the 700 Club. But he was also a big creep. Talked all kinds of shit about, LGBTQ plus rights, feminism, race, the right to abortion, all under the guise of religion, to a massive audience on that Christian Broadcasting Network. Along with a future creep episode, Jerry Falwell, I will do it. It's just going to be multiple parts, y'all, because there's a lot. He is a big influencer in the Christian right that really influenced politics starting in the 70s. It helped Reagan get elected in the 80s. It changed American politics forever. It's paved the way for MAGA and Trump. What a creep. So let's start at the beginning. Marion Gordon Pat Robertson, born March 22nd, 1930 in Lexington, Virginia. His father was Absalom Sure. Willis Robertson. He was a Democratic United States congressman and a senator from Virginia for 34 years. He's very big on the conservative agenda. That was his thing. He was into segregation and he opposed the New Deal and all the good stuff. His mother was Gladys Churchill. She was a housewife and a musician. And this is not a joke. His parents were cousins. I'm sorry, they were. I'm not making that up. His parents were cousins.
Certain parts of the country, yeah. That's certain parts of the world. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read it on multiple sources, linked in the show notes. His parents were cousins. Make all the jokes you want.
I have a
At
cute
young
cousin,
age,
by the way, but I would never do that, Kristen,
Yeah.
if you're listening.
He got the nickname Pat from one of his brothers. His brother used to pat him on the head and pat him on the cheeks and say Pat, Pat, Pat. And so they started calling him Pat.
Okay.
Adorable.
It is weird how nicknames take off, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Somebody
is
will be
weird.
Skip until they're their 90s. They're not a Skip, really.
I think it's interesting. He also chose to go with Pat because he thought his first name, Marion, sounded too feminine.
That was also John Wayne. His name was Marion Michael Morrison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Pat is also a feminine name. But that's cool. Whatever, man. You do you. That's Pat. He attended a military prep school in Tennessee. He graduated from Washington and Lee University in Virginia. He spent a year at the University of London. Then he joined the Marines, but he avoided combat in Korea, probably because his father was a senator.
Mm.
He went to Yale Law School, and that's where he met a nursing student. Her name was Adelia Elmer, known as Dee Dee. She also had a nickname. But they were secretly married in August 1954. And then their first son was born 10 weeks later.
Wow.
What? His first child was conceived out of wedlock. I clutch my pearls. So for years, he lied about his wedding date. And then when he ran for president in like 87, 88, reporters figured it out that he was lying about the wedding date. And then he like shit talked the media for reporting on it and called them outrageous and reprehensible. Shut up, you prick. You're the liar. You're the liar. Who can whatever. Graduated from Yale. Never took the bar, like didn't pass the bar exam, I should say. And he worked like a few different jobs. But that was just not his thing. And then for some reason, he met like an evangelical preacher, and he decided that he wanted to become like a very committed Christian. Apparently was very abrupt. And like his wife was like, "We're doing what now?
Weren't we having sex like from the day we met? What's going on?"
Yeah, exactly. But now we're doing this. And like he came home and he like poured out all their liquor, and they had like a nude print up on their wall, I guess. And he like ripped it down, and he's like, "I found the Lord and this is what we're doing now." And she's like, cool. So he entered this like seminary, a biblical seminary in New York at the time. And he got like a master's degree in divinity. And then he became an ordained minister. And that was in like 61. Then he moves to kind of your hood. He moves to like a parsonage that's parsonage. That's how you pronounce it. In Bedford in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And then apparently it was next to a brothel, so it was cheap and he could afford to stay there or whatever. And then
hey, everyone's heard welcome about on this. Sundays.
Hey, ain't no thing.
Yeah.
His mother told him about this like UHF like television station that was like for sale in Virginia, and it was they were selling it for like $300,000, but he offered them $37,000, and they're like, "It's a deal." Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, dude bought a television station.
It makes
for
me think of
$37,000.
Makes me think of the Weird Al Yankovic movie, UHF. Yeah, I really love.
It's on our list. We will definitely do that one someday because we love Weird Al here. So he buys this station, and he proudly, like boldly calls it the Christian Broadcasting Network. And so it goes on the air October 1st, 1961. And one of the first things he does is he does a fundraising drive, because of course he did, right? And 700 people donated $10 a month. And that's where the name, the 700 Club, comes from. I did not know that. I didn't ever bother to look up why, but there you go.
That's a lot of money for back then, too.
True dat.
Yeah.
And then he started that show, the 700 Club, and that became like the signature program. And then he started adding other things. He had like a game show that was on there. He had like a daytime soap opera called Another Life, and it was called A Soap with Hope. And I know, I was like, okay, I never watched it. And I loved soaps back in the day. I watched them all, but I never heard of Another Life.
Do you remember when Days of Our Lives had the main character be possessed by the devil? Was it Days of Our Lives? Oh my God, that was the best.
Yeah, it was Marlena.
Yeah, that was
She was
great.
possessed by the devil. There was a whole thing. All that happened, but then there was also a soap called Passions, and they had like a possessed like ventriloquist dummy or whatever that was like running around. Like soaps got off the chain in the 90s, y'all.
Yeah.
So Robertson was actually one of the first broadcasters to like syndicate his shows nationally. One of the first to use satellite transmissions. One of the first to like be like a basic cable network of any kind. He's also one of the first like evangelists to like get commercial sponsors, use toll-free numbers for people to like call in to get prayers and make contributions. He had like a Washington newsroom. Like this is before anybody else was doing that. I don't care if he's a trailblazer that way. He's still a fucking creep. His broadcasts were in 200 countries eventually, heard in 70 languages, hundreds of millions of dollars in donations every year, and like really mixed religion and news and entertainment.
Yeah.
Before anyone else was doing it. So I didn't know any of this stuff, but the Christian Broadcasting Network, that was in like 77. He started adding like reruns of like family shows like Flipper and like Father's. Flipper was a show that existed. It was about a dolphin. It's Flipper. Did you watch Flipper?
I just think
Father
of Daryl
knows
Hannah
best.
in that and Splash.
It was renamed in 88 as the Family Channel because they were trying to make it look less religious and attract more advertisers. And then in 97, he sold it to Fox Kids Worldwide, which is the Rupert Murdoch. He sold it for $1.9 billion.
Holy shit.
And then eventually Fox sold it for $5.3 billion in 2001 to Disney, which rebranded it as ABC Family, which is also now Freeform. So if you watch Freeform, it used to be the Christian Broadcasting Network, y'all.
Is it still kind of family friendly? Is that the whole thing?
I think it's supposed to be, but I'm not convinced it's as family, because ABC Family got a little racy. I'm going to put
For
that
them,
in
yeah.
quote for them. So I don't know what Freeform is like because I don't watch it, but I know that it has a lot of shows geared towards younger people.
Mhm.
So I didn't know all of that at all. So I know Freeform is a thing, and there you go. It used to be the Christian Broadcasting Network. So Robertson held on to the 700 Club, though. That was his baby. And it was on 3 times a day on the network, on his network. And it was just like a money machine. Like it rakes in the money. And in 2022 alone, it made $321 million.
Jesus. And it was like a nothing set. It just was like, it was so sparse. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And it became like a place that like politicians would come on to reach Christian viewers. So like Trump came on and he would talk about like the fake news, and then he would give interviews to the Christian Broadcasting Network, or Mike Pence would go on, things like that. During this time, Robertson also started the Christian Broadcasting Network University. That was in 77, which then became Regent University in 1990. And if you're like, what's Regent University like? Well, it's a private Christian college. One of the deans used to be former Republican Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann.
Oh,
if y'all remember Crazy Eyes. They used to call her Crazy Eyes.
Wow. Yeah, she was considered crazy for the time.
Yeah, for the time. Now she's downright moderate.
Yeah, she's kind of cute.
The school was also sued by a bunch of students and alumni who claimed that they were forced into conversion therapy. So
awesome.
Cool school there. But it is a school that feeds a lot of judicial clerkships. It is like a funnel into like conservative law, basically. So people go to school there. They get these clerkships with judges. And it just kind of feeds the conservative ideals in the judicial system. So cool. Like one of Trump's like lead lawyers was someone named Jay Seclow. And he was from the American Center for Law and Justice, which is an organization that Pat Robertson found to push back against the American Civil Liberty Union. So the organizations that Pat Robertson has started could be a whole separate episode. But
Wow.
like, I can't, like, I'm already over the word limit that we set for ourselves. So we're going to talk just a little bit about politics, and then we're going to get into a list of all the bullshit this man said. And you're going to be like, I can't believe that this person said these things. So, you know, he ran for president. I know we're all tired about talking about politics, but we're going to do just a little bit. Before him, a lot of Christians preferred to stay out of politics because they were like, it's corrupt and we don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
But he was one of the first, and Jerry Falwell too, that like really got in there and started pushing their religious ideals into the Republican Party. He ran for president in 1988, and he pushed this whole idea of like there would be no more separation of church and state. Like crosses would be
on the White House lawn. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. That was his thing. Abortion would be illegal. Prayer is in public school. Honestly, it doesn't sound terribly different than what
No.
Trump and Vance would like to do right now. And they started to paint Christians as these like people who are just we're ignored. Nobody listens to us. We're being persecuted. That also sounds super familiar. It didn't work out for him, obviously, but he used his remaining funds from his political campaign to start something called the Christian Coalition.
Ooh,
And boy, yeah. And their big thing was they started a conservative voter program that really involved like distributing voting guides in churches. And I mean, you'll guess who they're telling you
Yeah.
who to vote for. Again, churches in America are not taxed because they're, in theory, not involved in politics.
Because they're meant to serve the community.
They're not doing that anymore.
Right.
And we should be fucking taxing our churches. But so, of course, his like Christian Coalition filed for like a tax exempt status. And they were like, no, dog, that shit's not going to work. And like the Federal Election Coalition has like investigated them like in 90, 92, and 94 for misusing funds and things like that. It's fucking crooked. Okay, this is a long list, y'all. So buckle in for all the bad takes from Pat Robertson. So when we talked about Ronald Reagan in a past episode and his non-existent response to the AIDS crisis. Well, some of that was because of people like Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell and the Christian right, who convinced him that this was divine punishment against gay people.
Yep.
That's what they get.
That's what
for
they
being
said.
Gay. In 1985, he claimed that he personally steered away a hurricane from Virginia Beach. He has the power to control the weather.
I thought that was a superpower.
I thought liberals controlled the weather.
I thought so weird. That was our thing.
No. Pat Robertson did. Thank you very much.
Damn.
And now he's not here anymore, so it's just running wild.
He was keeping it in check, it turns out.
Yeah. So this was in 85, and people are like, that's my guy, and they're just sending in more money. So in 1990, Robertson claimed that many of the supporters of Adolf Hitler were gay, and that Hitler and the Nazi government, like, you know, were just trying to like protect people from gay people. That was their thing. So shitty. He's real crazy. I just wrote in here, he's batshit insane. He likes to predict things all the time. He told him that God would, that a tsunami was going to strike the United States in 2006. It did not. A massive terrorist strike in the United States would take place in 2007. It did not. He said that President Obama would lose in 2012. He did not. Like, he was always making these kinds of predictions all the time. He also claimed that European bankers were involved in the assassination of Lincoln. Sure. Okay. In 92, he published one of his newsletters, and he said the feminist agenda is not about equal rights for women. It's about socialist, anti-family political movement that encourages women to leave their husbands, kill their children, practice witchcraft, destroy capitalism, and become lesbians.
Wow.
That's a list. That's a lot.
That's a lot to just be as a person.
Also, this sounds no different
No.
than what you're hearing now. So good for you, Pat Robertson, you trendsetter. Let's see. What else did he say? He said if you're that being Hindu is demonic.
Oh, JD Vance's wife will be interested in that.
Yeah. In 1998, Disney World was hosting like gay days, and he said the city of Orlando was inviting hurricanes, earthquakes, and terrorism, and possibly a meteor by displaying rainbow flags. Sure. He said that you're supposed to be nice to Episcopalians, Presbyterians, and Methodists. He said that's nonsense. You don't have to be nice to the spirit of the Antichrist.
Against Episcopalians?
Yes.
Like the Methodists? Like the nicest people are Methodists.
Right. Yeah,
They're
he's like,
super chill.
Yeah, fuck those people.
What did he think about Catholics?
They weren't on the list.
Oh.
So in 2001, he and fellow homophobic televangelist Jerry Falwell blamed the gays, abortion, and liberals for 9/11. We did it.
Yeah.
Yep. He said, I really believe that the pagans and the abortionists and the feminists and the gays and the lesbians, by the way, and we're all actively trying to make that an alternative lifestyle. The ACLU, the People for the American Way, all of them. I point a finger in your face and say, you helped this happen. Thanks. And it's ridiculous. He's also a huge hypocrite.
You think?
You think you're not supposed to be gambling, but he like bought a racehorse and he named it Mr. Pat.
After himself, did he pat it on the head?
Pat.
Pat you on the head so much.
And he's like, I don't bet or gamble. I just enjoy watching the horses run and performing. And it's like, bitch, please.
Yeah.
Like, no. He said that Hurricane Katrina in 2005 was divine punishment for abortion. Again, abortion causes everything.
Ugh.
So in November 2005, people in Dover, Pennsylvania, like had voted out all these members of their school board who supported intelligent design because that's stupid and they're a school. And he said that they had rejected God by doing that. And he said, I'd like to say to the good citizens of Dover, if there's ever a disaster in your area, don't turn to God. And then he said, if you have future problems in Dover, they should call Charles Darwin. Maybe he can help them.
Yeah, he died in like 1890 something. Okay.
Sure. Thanks,
Asshole.
Pat. He's such an asshole. He's the word. Islam is violent, refused to acknowledge that it's a religion. He said the 2010 earthquake in Haiti happened because they made a pact with the devil.
Oh, Jesus.
This is a good one. In 2013, he claimed that gay men in San Francisco were on purpose trying to infect people with HIV by wearing rings that cut people when you shake their hand.
He has a very fanciful imagination, this guy.
He does. I was like, dude should be writing fiction.
Right, like spy novels or something.
Yeah, I was like, this is not a thing that's happening. I live here. Trust me. No one is walking around trying to cut your hand and give you AIDS. That's not a thing. I mean, maybe I don't go to the right parties, but I don't know what parties he's going to, but that's definitely not a thing. This is another good one. So he had a segment on the 700 Club where people could like call in and like ask for advice.
Yeah, the Howard Stern show, they do it all the time.
Yeah. And
Like
so
Stuttering John. Quick call in. My favorite is when he met the Dalai Lama and he went up to the Dalai Lama and he says, so all day long, do you just hear hello, Dolly? I don't know why that cracked me up.
Because it's dumb and sometimes dumb is funny.
Yeah.
So a woman called in about her cheating husband and she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm suggesting marriage counseling. I don't know how to make it work. And he told her males have a tendency to wander a bit. And what you want to do is make the home so wonderful that he doesn't want to wander.
It doesn't work though, sir.
No.
When their dicks want to wander, they wander.
Mm-hmm.
You could be Martha Stewart and have a perfect home and perfect everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and they're still going to cheat.
Yeah.
Which she talks about in her documentary.
Yeah.
So in 2015, the Supreme Court ruled that for gay marriage, that, national marriage equality. What? And you'll never guess what he said. It's going to lead to bestiality. It's going to lead to bestiality and polygamy. Watch what happens. Love affairs between men and animals are going to be absolutely permitted. Yeah. He also says it's going to lead to a global financial crisis. I don't know how that's supposed to happen.
No, gay weddings have actually added to the economy in a way. And I know this because I worked at a wedding magazine, and those people have a lot of money to spend on their events. And to be serious, I have a lot of friends that are worried about the state of their relationships coming up this new year. Yeah.
Same.
Because of this shit that keeps getting equated with bestiality when it's just relationship between two consenting adults.
Yeah, these are not the same things. And this is absolutely something that people are worried about because in this country, nothing is settled law anymore.
No.
Like nothing. And absolutely, like gay marriage is back on the table. Interracial marriage is back on the table. No fault divorce is back on the table. Like,
yeah.
It's going to get scary out there, y'all. So, where was I going? Oh, yes. So, in 2016, Robertson said that advancing the rights of transgender people is somehow taking the nation's attention away from the threat of nuclear war.
Which is something that Trump was talking a lot about. Okay. Oh, God.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw up. Go ahead.
I know. Yeah, so it's interesting because he starts by saying like, what are we debating in America? Why are we debating this? Where a little kid goes potty. I mean, this is nuts. Absolutely nuts. It's crazy. And for a second, I was like, holy shit, do I agree with Pat Robertson about something? Like, how about we just mind our own business and focus on shit that really matters? But then he, right after that, he goes on to say, for the United States to put the power of the federal government, all of its money and resources behind the transgender movement, it is just nothing short of insanity. I'm like, the government is not
nowhere
all
near
in
it. No.
No. Could you imagine? They're like, we're not going to fund anything else. We're just
cancer treatments. Fuck off.
Yeah, sorry. We're only doing transgender surgeries now in schools.
In 5th grades, yeah. You send little Tommy to school. You say, bye, son. I love you so much. Be a good boy.
So stupid. So and then he comes back and he says, sir, with tears in his eyes. I didn't want to be a girl and now I'm a girl. It's like none of these things happen. So stupid. Also in 2016, there was the shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, and he just, that's what you get. That's what you get for being gay.
Yeah.
It's absolutely shitty. And of course he's all over Bill Clinton and his sex scandals, but then he dismisses Donald Trump's stuff as he's just macho. He literally called him macho. I can't think of anyone less macho.
No. So he does
He's
like those Village People songs.
He does.
Yeah.
Why is he always playing YMCA? He should be playing Macho Man.
Maybe he's setting that up for the inauguration, Sonia, which I'm sure will be a delight. We'll have Kid Rock,
and
Hulk
Ted
Hogan,
Nugent,
Hulk Hogan, Christy Swanson. It's going to be amazing.
Scott Baio. It's going to be so good. I can't wait to not watch it. Like, no, nobody's going to watch that. Like, gross. Enjoy. Whatever. It's honestly, the list just keeps going on and on. It's after the shooting in Las Vegas in 2017, he blamed it on disrespect for Donald Trump. He blamed it on NFL players that take the knee during the national anthem.
For God's sake.
I can't imagine how these things are related, but you do you, boo. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And all this shit wouldn't matter, except he has millions of people that watch his his bullshit show and send him money. So he's like, I'm saying the right things, just reinforcing that shit. It's awful.
Yeah, I know people who grew up in the South and the NPTA. Was it PTA? What was it called? No, PTL. PTL and him and Oral Roberts University, and there was just a bunch of them, and people, they watch all day, and then they're just encouraged to call in and just donate as much as they can, and a lot of these people were broke and still and just they had it's so disgusting.
Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, Jim Baker, Oral Roberts,
Jimmy
Swaggart.
He was a real piece of shit.
Yeah, like all of these people are they're all grifters. Mm-hmm. All of them. It's the worst. Like, so greedy. Throw your man Joel Osteen in there now, too.
We did an episode on him,
Yeah, we did an episode on him. This dude makes so much fucking money and does not give back. Like, ugh. You know, and then here we go. We blamed COVID on marriage equality. Said critical race theory is monstrously evil.
Not slavery, by the way.
Never
spoke about that, or kids being, fire hosed during the civil rights movement in the 60s. Didn't have a problem with that.
No. And, just constantly repeating this idea that somehow, like, liberals are Nazis and that liberals are persecuting Christians. He literally says it's no different that the Democratic Congress, the liberal-based media, and homosexuals want to destroy all Christians. That's what he said.
They don't give a shit.
Like,
no, they don't.
And just like Trump and all these other people that we just mentioned, he's a huge fucking grifter. All the shit he says on his shows, it's just another way to get him to send him money. So he was trying to set up a network in China. So he refused to offer any thoughts when China was promoting abortion because they were doing the one kid.
Yeah,
thing.
One kid per household.
Yeah, he got a lot of shit for that. It turns out he also was constantly voicing his support for a former president of Liberia named Charles Taylor. He did several episodes of the 700s Club about him and all of that. And it turned out that he was in a joint venture with him in mines.
Ugh.
It's so crooked. He made $8 million in those mines, by the way. That former president of Liberia, by the way, he'd been indicted by the United Nations for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Cool dude. Yeah, awesome. Let's see, what else did he do? Oh, he started another tax-exempt nonprofit organization called Operation Blessing International. And I know, it's a whole thing. And he would make all these emotional pleas on his show, to donate to Operation Blessing, because we're going to use it to support airlifts to refugees in Rwanda in Zaire.
Mhm.
And no, they didn't do any of that. They just took the money. They used it actually to transport diamond mining equipment to the diamond mines that he was
The blood
invested in.
mines that people talk about, the blood diamonds.
Yep.
What a gent.
Yeah. Cool dude. It's so fucked up. So he's dead now. So let's all rejoice. But like he had like a stroke in like 2018, but then he got better and he was like, God loves me. That's why I'm better. Blah, blah, blah. 2019, he like fell and broke some ribs, and then he came back again and he's like, here I am because God loves me. And then, June 8th, 2023, he died at his home. He was age 93. But guess what? He didn't come back because God doesn't love him, I guess. So I'm going to wrap it up with this. There's a piece, I linked it in the show notes. This historian named Rick Perlstein, he wrote several books about like the history of the American right. And he gave an interview in the Washington Post, and Washington Post is on my shit list right now, but enjoy the gift link. He said this about Pat Robertson. The idea that God's law trumps man's law absolutely saturates Robert's worldview. Along with Falwell, he is most responsible for turning Christianity into Christian nationalism and Christian nationalism into insurrection. So that is our creep, Pat Robertson. I don't even think I made a dent, to tell you the truth. But
yeah, but then we'd all be throwing up all over ourselves. He was an asshole.
A huge asshole. Honestly, I didn't realize how big of an asshole he was until I really dug in. And I was like, oh shit, this one's more work than I I was like, oh man. I thought it was just gonna be a list of shitty things he said. But he was really fucking crooked. What a piece of shit.
Well, good job, Sonia.
Thanks, friend.
We also co-host a show called Dorking Out, where we just dork out about movies. And our next movie is going to be Bridesmaids, which came out in 2011. Super excited. We just wanted to do something.
Fun.
That's the show where we just have fun talking about movies.
Just talk about movies, we're watching.
What we like it or we don't like it. We make it really fun. And I think Bridesmaids is the perfect one to come up this week. And so I wanted to talk about Melissa McCarthy, because that was like, for me, I didn't watch the Gilmore Girls. So you'll probably have to help me when it comes to that kind of stuff. And Mike and Malloy, I never really watched. That was a big show for her. But she's born Melissa Ann McCarthy. She's actually related to Jenny McCarthy. I think they're first or second cousins. And she's also from Plainfield, Illinois. She's an actress, a screenwriter, and a producer. She's been married to her husband, Ben Falcone, since 2005. They have 2 daughters. She's one of Time's most influential people of the year in 2016. She had a whole slew of movies that came out, like St. Vincent, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Tammy, The Heat, The Boss, Identity Thief, The Little Mermaid. She was in everything. She played Ursula in the live action version of that. Yeah. And she also produces shows, and she and her husband work together a lot. They were just on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. And every once in a while, I just witness a real couple that really seems like they dig each other and get each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's so genuine, like their affection for one another.
Yeah.
And I don't want to doom any relationship, but I was just like, I'm watching them together. I'm just like, they just seem like really nice, decent, thoughtful people. She's very funny. She always elevates material, even when it's not very good, like the Jerry Seinfeld movie that came out. She's usually super funny if she's involved in it. And she's also was a person who went to fashion school at one point, and her size goes up and down, changes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? I mean, the last 10 years have been on and off stressful for people. But she also wanted to create, everyone who knows her says that she always looks great. Her makeup, her hair, her nails, her accessories, like it's always on point. And she really despises the notion that women, if you're a bigger, curvier woman, however you want to put it, if they just put them in muumuus, just wear something really diaphanous and huge, and just to hope people don't make fun of you.
Yeah, you need to look like Mimi on Drew Carey show or something. It's like, no.
You need to come up with that big personality, right? And she's like, no, I want to wear prints. I want to wear dresses that have pockets and that are cute. I want to have all those things. So I'm going to create something that is going to be fashionable but affordable. But also just like, there are stores for bigger women, but we've all seen them. And it's sometimes slim pickings what they're offering.
Or it's boring.
It's super boring. Once again, she likes Prince. She likes, not just the singer. She likes Prince. You know what I'm saying? And so she has her own line. And it's Melissa McCarthy. She has if you go to Instagram, Melissa McCarthy 7, you can find people who post their finds there. But I'm looking at all these dresses and I'm just like, oh yeah, she could,
I'm going to look them up right now.
Yeah. Melissa McCarthy. She has a lot of cute, affordable dresses. Like she just wants women to feel good, no matter what your size is. They love to make.
Oh, it's at Macy's.
Yeah, they sell it at Macy's. She was on QVC for a while. She's been on The Simpsons. She's been everywhere. And once again, she just seems like a really kind, thoughtful person. She's a fantastic actor and just not a creep, man. And sometimes we just need a nice non-creep, and it's just somebody who's just a good person. So that's our non-creep this week, Melissa McCarthy.
I love it.
Thank you.
Great pick.
Well,
I'm so excited for Bridesmaids.
Ugh. I'm so psyched to watch that tonight. You have no idea. Like it's after
know,
Elsbeth and Matlock. I'm going to be all chicked out.
Same. Oh my God. Same. We have the same night planned.
Oh yeah. And Great British Bake Off. It's like, it's going to be nuts. Okay.
It's on, people.
It is on. So that's the show today. We also co-host Dorking Out, where we dork out about movies. Please check us out there. Like we said, what did we talk about last week? We talked about Anchorman. And we had a lot of fun with that. We did the original Anchorman.
Fun.
But the next one's going to be Bridesmaids. And if you have ideas, suggestions for creeps and or non-creeps, all those places I mentioned at the top of the show, reach out to us. We love it when you use the Annie Potts gift. We got one from Ghostbusters, but you could just be clever and just figure out something all on your own. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Send us your address through the email if you'd like to get some stickers. Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Instagram and Blue Sky and Threads and TikTok. And you could go to Facebook too, but I don't check that as often. Where can people find you, my friend?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm at brooklynfitchick for Instagram and Threads. Please follow me in those places. I'm at Brooklyn Margot for TikTok, Blue Sky, and Twitter for now, but we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, but when you go there, what you will see is a pinned tweet that says, I'm not here anymore. Go to these things.
It's just a big old mess. The ads are really annoying. It's just not as much fun. Oh, and please, my YouTube channel, I'm promoting a book that's coming out next year, and I'm already doing stuff for it. So please follow me on YouTube at my name, Margot Donahue. Okay, everyone. That's our show this week. In the meantime, it's crazy. We know that. Do what you can to be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Don't be a creep.
Be a creep. Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.